Today we're doing the Unit 5 study guide for our test that's coming up. I did not change the year. I forgot to change the year. So it says 2024, but it should say 2025 under the test date. Okay, the first one says there are 93 students in the cafeteria. There are 3 times as many students in the cafeteria as there are students on the playground. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, are there more students in the cafeteria or on the playground? Mary? Cafeteria. So if you were making a box model, you would have, just going to use P for playground, C for cafeteria. How many boxes would playground get? Todd?
3.
No. Playground's going to get 1 because Mary just told us there's 3 times as many in the cafeteria. That means there's more kids in the cafeteria, so cafeteria gets more boxes. Okay? So playground, we don't know what goes in there yet, but we know that there's 3 times as many in the cafeteria, so cafeteria is going to get 3 boxes. Altogether, there is 93 students in the cafeteria. So what would be an equation that you could write that would match this? Haziel?
93 divided by 3.
Would equal the playground, right? You're right, Haziel, if it said division, but it says multiplication. So what could you do for a multiplication one?
3 times.
Say that again?
3 times.
Whatever.
Equals 93.
Yes. So that's what we're going to write down. We're going to say 3 times as many as the playground. We'll use a P for that. Equals 93. Okay? So 3 times as many as what's on the playground equals the cafeteria. So first we're going to write down 3 times as many as P equals 93. Next, it wants to know how many students are on the playground. So if it's in one box, it's in all the boxes. So to figure out what goes in the playground box, we have to, like Haziel said, divide 93 by 3, or split 93 into 3 groups. Now 93 is kind of cool because can you divide 9 by 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What's 9 divided by 3?
3.
3. So 3, 3, and 3. Can you divide 3 by 3?
Yeah.
What's that? 1. So guess what our answer is?
31.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
So there are 31 students on the playground. And we know that because 31 plus 31 plus 31 gives us 93. Okay, the reason I had you guys get your notebooks out are for these next questions. It says select all true statements. The first one says 1 meter equals 1,000 kilometers. Remember, kilometers are kind of like miles, and this is a meter. So 1 meter equals 1,000 kilometers. True or false? True? False. One of these doesn't equal 1,000 miles, right? Or 1,000 kilometers. So this one is false. This thing is a foot. It's kind of roughly the size of an adult foot. not perfect, but to try and give you a little bit of an idea of the size of a foot, it's about the size of a foot. So the next one says 1 foot is 12 inches. Is that true or false? Fingers, thumbs up for true, thumbs down for false. 1 foot equals 12 inches. True. Circle it. Okay. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. This is 1 meter. What's the last number you can see on there, Zerelda? 99. Plus 1 more would be 100. That one is also true. You couldn't see, Zerelda can't see the 100 because it's cut off, because there's nowhere to put it. So 1 meter is 100 centimeters. You've got that in. That's the very first thing on your measurement conversion. It says under larger unit, says 1 meter, smaller unit, 100 centimeters. 1 centimeter is 100 of these. True or false? Todd, 1 centimeter is 100 of these. True or false? Definitely false, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would 100 of these be the same size as that?
No.
Okay. The last one says 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So it's the second one, the second conversion. Under length, 1 kilometer is, what's it say? 1,000 meters, so that one's true. So make sure you've circled B, C, and E.
Are we doing points?
Nope. I mean, a couple people have earned points, but yeah, you can put tallies on your study guide, but I don't think you have any yet. The length of the table in inches is 72 inches. What's the length of the table in feet? What I want you to do now is circle the word inches and circle the word feet. Circle the word inches and circle the word feet. Then look at your notebook, which you should have out, and look for inches and feet.
I do not see that.
It's at the bottom. It's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom
Second
of
one.
the second one.
Okay, so second column, 1 foot is how many inches? 12. So here's what I want you to write down. The conversion factor, which is 1 foot equals 12 inches. I have said to you guys a lot of times over this year that if you do it to the top,
Do to the bottom.
if you do it to the bottom,
Do to the top.
fractions, the way they work, you can also do, if you do it to the left, you do it to the right. Let me show you what I mean. So what do you multiply 1 times to get 12? 12. And over here, how long, or what's the length of the table in inches? Shout it out. 72. So where does inches go? Does it go on the top or the bottom? Bottom. So over here I'm going to write 72 inches. So what do you multiply 12 times to get 72? 12, 72, what do you multiply by? 6. And if you do it to the bottom,
Do it to the top.
okay. What's 1 times 6? 6. So the answer to this question is A, 6 feet. Now, do you know a minute ago I said if you do it to the left, you do it to the right? Watch this. What do you multiply, if you multiply 6 times 12, what do you get? 72. And then we can multiply across too, right? What's 12 times 6? 72. What's 72 times 1?
72.
They all fit together when you have equivalent fractions. When you have equivalent fractions, they all fit together. It's pretty cool, right? Okay. All right. Now, this next part, I think, is one of the most challenging parts of any math test that we take. And the reason is because of the language. You see this word cannot and cannot? I want you to underline those. Okay, so it says the perimeter of a rectangle is 40 centimeters. So we have a rectangle and the perimeter is 40 centimeters. Okay? It says select all the true statements. A says if one side measures 10, then it is a square. Well, let's see. If this is 10, this would be 10. And if this were 10, this would be 10. What's 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10?
40.
40. Are those four sides all
Yes.
the same?
Yes.
So that one is true. I want you to do two things. I want you to write the word true out to the side and circle it. And there's a reason for that. Okay, the next one says, the rectangle cannot have a side that measures 21. So if this side is 21, this side is also 21, right? What is 21 plus 21? 42. So this question says the rectangle cannot have a side that measures 21. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes. So see how it's a little bit confusing? Normally you would say, I can't do this, so it's false. So I can't, so I'm gonna cross through it because this can't happen. But because of that word cannot, it makes it true because the the problem says you can't do this, and that's true. Okay, so we're gonna mark true because you cannot. Okay, letter C says the rectangle cannot have a side that measures 15. So if this were 15, this were 15, what's 15 plus 15? 30. What could these sides be? Jackson? 5. Is that possible?
Yes.
But this says you can't do it, so this one would be false. So we don't do that one. Okay. D says if one side measures 6 3/8, then another side would measure 13 5/8. So if this side is 6 3/8 centimeters, then this side would be 13 5/8 centimeters. Would that be true? What do you think? Avis?
Yes.
Yes, how do you know?
Because 6 and 13 equals 19 holes, and then 3 plus 5 equals 8. So that would be 19 8/8, which is equal to 20 holes, which is half of 40.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Nice job, Avis. Yes, that's exactly right. Remember yesterday I told you guys you want to cut your rectangle in half? if you're trying to find a missing side, half of 40 would be 20, and this equals 20. So if one side is 6 3/8, the other would be 13 5/8. So letter D is true. You guys, hold on to your stuff. Okay, the last one says if one side measures 1 centimeter, the other side measures 39 centimeters. Would that work? Athena, what do you think?
Wait, no.
How come?
Because 39 has to be on the other side.
Uh-huh.
And so
So if this is 39, this would be 39. And what would this be?
1.
1.
And that
Okay.
won't work.
And it wouldn't work because what's 39 plus 1?
40.
40. That means we got the perimeter and just 2 sides, but we got to get all 4 sides. Good girl. Okay. So this one is false also. Okay. Complete the table showing the number of ounces for the measurements given in pounds. Okay, on your conversion table, I want you to look for the type is weight, the larger unit is pounds, the smaller unit is ounces. It's at the top of the second set. How many ounces are there in 1 pound? Jackson?
16.
16. So we are going to fill in the first box with 16. That means this is kind of like an in and out box. So 1 pound goes in and something happens in the machine and then out comes 16 ounces. Okay? So if 5 pounds go into the machine, and during the machine, what's happening is it's being multiplied by 16. Then, so this is 1 times 16. This would be 5 times 16. So what's 5 times as many as 16? If you're not sure, you can stack them and add them. 16 and 16 and 16 and 16 and 16. So 6 and 6 is 12 plus 6, 18 plus 6, 24 plus 6, 30. Put down a 0, carry the 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 5 groups of 16 equals 80. Okay, the next one's going to be 10 groups of 16. You see that lovely 0? Yes. Colton, how are you going to solve that one?
So you put 0 times 1.
What's your basic fact?
1 times 1.
Evan, what's your basic fact?
You would add 6 times 10.
Jackson, what's your basic fact?
If it's a number times 10, there's always going to be a 0 at the end.
What's your basic fact? Autry?
1 times 16.
1 times 16. Guys, basic facts are the numbers without the 0. So we have 1 times 16 equals 16. And then, like Jackson said, when you multiply by 0, you just put a 0 at the end. Oh, I need to fix this. I made a mistake here. Okay. So that would be 80. Okay, so this is 160. And that makes sense, right? Because like Jackson said, we just put a 0 at the end. Jackson, will you go pull the door shut for me, please? Okay. Next it says 20 times 16. We have a basic fact again. What is our basic fact on this one? Fisher?
2 times 16.
2 times 16. Do you know what that equals?
42.
Nope. 1 Todd?
37.
Ari?
32.
32. 32, and then what do we do? Add the 0. 320.
No, I was thinking.
It's all right. And then the last one. Hey, can this problem right here help us with this one?
Yes.
What's the difference in 5 and 50s, Arelda?
You just add a 0 in front of the 5.
Behind. But yes, you're right. It's just got a 0. Look at how they're different, guys. This is just a 5. This is a 5 with a 0 behind it. So if you multiply this 5 times 16, we got 80. If you multiply this 5 times 16, we get 80 with a 0. So watch. 50 times 16. Underline your basic fact. 5 times 16, we know from right here is 80. Colton, are you writing? Then you bring over your 0. So the answer is 800. All right. Okay, so picture this. A lake is 2,500 meters wide. So that would be 2,500 of these wide. Noah says that's 25 centimeters. Macy, this is 25 centimeters. Do you want to go swimming in a lake that's this wide? You sure? Okay, so it says explain why Noah's answer is not reasonable. Here's what we're going to write down. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So 25 centimeters is less than 1 meter. It is not reasonable for a lake to be less than 1 meter wide. And I'm adding in my head, but not up here. Nobody wants to swim in a lake that's 25 centimeters wide.
Maybe you can.
Devin, I know you do. I was teasing. Okay. You're like, woohoo! Woohoo! This is so fun. This lake that's as big as my foot. Okay. How many centimeters wide is the lake? So we do need to use the conversion. What are we talking about? We're talking about meters and centimeters. So on your conversion table, go find meters and centimeters. It's going to be the very first one. And very first one, what's it say?
1 meter. I know.
1 meter
And 100 centimeters.
is 100 centimeters. And how many meters wide is the lake?
I know. 5 inches.
How many meters wide is it, everybody?
2,000 meters.
2,500, that's in the problem. That's just a matter of reading. 2,500 meters. Now, we can do a couple of different things here. Whoops.
We're all being clumsy today.
Okay. This is another one that's cool that I want to show you. So, 1 meter is 100 centimeters, equals 2,500 meters. Okay, here's the question. What do you multiply 1 times to get 100? 100. So, what would 2,500 times 100 be? Remember, when you multiply by 10, you just put a 0 at the end. When you multiply by 100, what would you do, Autrey?
You add 2 zeros to the end.
You just add 2 zeros to the end. So we have this exact number, 2,000, or not with the comma, get rid of the comma, 2500, and then like Autrey said, we add on 2 zeros. So, what do you multiply 1 times to get 2,500? 2,500. And if you multiply 100 times 2,500, that's what we did right here too. You get 250,000. And then if you cross multiply 100 times 2,500, you would get 250,000. And if you multiply 250,000 times 1, you would get 250,000. Pretty cool, right? Mind blown? Okay. So the answer is 250,000 centimeters. Does that sound more reasonable for a lake? 250,000 centimeters? A lot more than 25. Okay. So on this last one, this last set of questions, it says that Han's dog eats 3.5 kilograms of food a week. Priya's dog eats 400 grams of food per day. In order to, and then they want to know in just a little bit whose dog eats more. In order to figure out whose dog eats more, they have to be in the same unit and they have to be for the same amount of time. Okay? So you can't say, well, if we turn this into grams, we still have more work to do because that would be grams per week and this is grams per day. So the first question says, explain why 1/2 kilogram is 500 grams. Fisher?
Because the kilogram is 1,000 grams.
Uh-huh. And so if you cut 1 in half,
It's 50.
it would be half. And if you cut 1,000 in half, it would be? Yes. Okay. So here's what we're going to write on that. Because 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. So 1/2 kilogram would equal half of 1,000, which is 500. So if we know 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams, if we cut this 1 in half, then 1/2 kilogram, we are going to cut this 1,000 in half to get 500, right? Okay, 2 more problems. Which dog eats more food? So we have Han's dog eats 3.5 kg for kilograms per week. And then over here, we have Priya's dog who eats 400 grams per day. First thing we need to do is make sure they both say grams. So we already know that half of a kilogram is 500 grams. So this is 500. How many grams would be in 3 kilograms, Devin? Zerelda?
3,000.
Yes. If 1 kilogram is 1,000, then 3 kilograms would be 3,000. Combine that with the 500. So Hans' dog eats 3,500 grams per week. Now we've got them both in grams, but this says per day. How do we change that to make it week? Avis? How are we going to make this this into a week?
You don't do that. You turn the week into days.
No, it's easier to
Oh.
do the other way.
Okay.
And it is easier to go the other way.
Okay.
Autry?
I know it.
You multiply 7 times 400 because there are 7 days in a week.
Perfect. How many days in a week?
7.
So, if you think of a week as boxes, day 1, 400. Day 2, 400. Day 3, 400, and so on. So when you're done, you're going to have 7 groups of 400. That's 6. Okay, so 7 times as much as 400. What's your basic fact, Jackson?
4 times 7.
7 times 4, what's that equal? 28. How many zeros do you add on Jackson?
2.
2. You got it. All right. So now we've got it into grams per week. Okay. So now we know that Hans' dog eats 3,500 grams per week and Priya's dog eats 2,800 grams per week. Whose dog eats more, Cameron's? Why do you think Priya's eats more? How much does her dog eat in a week?
2,800 grams.
Okay, and how much does Hans' dog eat in a week?
305.
What is this number?
3,005.
So whose dog eats more? Hans. How come?
Because if you
Because which number's bigger?
3,000.
500. Okay. Which dog eats more food in a week? Hans. Because 3,500 grams per week, getting this picture, is more than 2,800 grams per week. How much more food? How much more tells you to do what? Devin? How much more? What's the
Subtract.
Yes. Good work. And when we subtract, what number always has to go on top, everybody?
The biggest.
The bigger number. So 3,500. Subtract 2,800. What is 0 minus 0? 0 minus 0?
0.
5 minus 8. Can't do it. So decompose the 3. Make it a 2. Make the 5 a 15. 15 minus 8? 7. And 2 minus 2 is 0. So, how much
700.
more food? 700 grams more per week. Okay.